actually give a round of applause for Tina since she's in here for putting this whole day together. That's wonderful. Thank you. I'm so glad to be here. After I had my third baby, I was at work pumping milk. Who's ever pumped milk? It's a lot of work. And I was sitting there so flustered with catching every single drop, and going through my head over and over and over was nothing but the thought of a fight I'd had with my husband. I was anxiously repeating terrible thoughts over and over again about a disagreement we had about the bed. In the bedroom. He wants it over here, I want it over here. That's not gonna work. Oh my gosh, how are we gonna make this happen? We're gonna get a divorce. And I have to pump milk. I was flustered, I was upset. I thought everything was falling apart. And that day I realized, oh my gosh, what is going on? I realized I'm having an anxiety attack, and from that day forth, I learned how to master what's going on in here. And I want to share some things with you today because nobody should ever live in that place 24/7. Who's ever been in that place? Does anyone want to be in that place? No, of course not. So we're always taught by whoever you follow, Brendan Burchard, Tony Robbins, any personal development coach that you love. They teach us, okay, in order to create your life, the start of creation begins with your thought, with an idea. And so when you change your thoughts and you master your ideas and you empower yourself that way, it's going to create everything that you want in your life, right? We've all heard this. But at the end of the day, are we still having negative thoughts? Are we still having anxious moments, depression, negativity? This is the last bit we're going to talk about, that negativity today, because we want to change that, right? So statistics say that 80% of our thoughts are negative, right? We have like 50, 60,000 thoughts per day, and women, we probably have more. So do the math on that. I didn't even calculate it out, but it's a depressing number. So what if we change that? What if instead of 80% negative thoughts and 20% positive, we flipped it on its head and said 80% of my thoughts are positive and 20% are negative? Should we learn how to do that today? Yes. Do you want to? Absolutely. Wonderful. I would love to too. So there are 4 sources of your thoughts. 4. Not just you. There are 4. So let's go through them so we can understand how this is happening and what to do with each. So the first source, easy enough, is yourself. The thoughts you choose to intentionally think, the ideas you think or that you choose to process through. When you look in the mirror, what you say to yourself about your appearance. After you accomplish something, what you tell yourself about that accomplishment. When somebody says a thank you to you or gives you a gift, your response. This includes your language and what you say to yourself. The main primary source is yourself, what you choose. Those are the easiest thoughts to understand, to feel, because we intentionally choose them, right? So can everyone agree that we all know our own self-made thoughts? Awesome, easy. Now, excuse me. The second source of your thoughts, I will write the word inspiration, but that can include your higher power, personal revelation, intuition, whatever you believe is your source of your higher power that sends you nothing but positive ideas, positive intentions, miraculous things you would have never thought of. Has everyone ever felt inspiration? Yes. And we can all agree everything that comes from our inspiration is good, correct? It always serves us, even if we don't understand exactly how or why yet. But our inspiration, intuition, personal revelation, whatever you want to call it, is always positive. The next source of our thoughts is our brain. So, have you seen a little child learning how to walk? They wobble, they fall over, they haven't quite mastered the art of taking a step and balancing, right? It takes practice over and over and over until their brain has wired the process so that they can walk automatically without thinking about it. We don't have to think about it, right? What our brain does is everything that we feed it, good or bad, positive or negative, everything that we feed our brain gets wired over and over and over again. So this can be positive or negative. What our brain does for us is the most things it hears most often, it will create a path. It will create a channel so that no matter what happens in our life, our circumstances, it will feed us the thoughts or the ideas or the intentions or feelings that it thinks we need for our survival at that point in time. When I had my anxiety attack, it was my brain. It was not me choosing those thoughts, it was my brain. So for example, I'm a member of the dominant religious faith in this state. And we have very sacred spaces called temples. And I believe that when I'm in a temple, I cannot be influenced by anyone else except myself or my higher power, my inspiration. And so I was there one day, meditating, praying, pondering, and reading my scriptures because I was asking a question. I was looking for guidance on a particular subject in my life. And I read a scripture that I felt was a strong answer to my prayer. And then I had a negative thought. Sarah, you're just not good enough. If this is your answer, I guess you're just not good enough for this situation in your life. And I went home that day realizing that was not my higher power. That was not me. That was my brain trying to convince me that I wasn't enough because I'd run that pattern over and over and over again. I'd listened to that thought of I'm not enough over and over again. And so this is so important to know because we can change this. And we're going to get to exactly how in just a moment. The last source of your thoughts, I'm going to write the adversary. You can call it your darker side, your ego, Satan, the devil, whatever you like. I'm going to call it the adversary today. And everything that comes from the adversary is always negative. Always, always, always. So one time I was out shopping with my sons. I have 3 little boys. They're 3, 4, and 6. And I had this crazy idea that I could go clothes shopping with them and make it work, right? Because I'd reached a goal or something and I'd saved up some money and I wanted a new outfit. And I was in a store and the changing room had just the curtain across the door. Not like the door you actually close and latch, it was the curtain. So that, number one, is a problem because I've got a toddler that was trying to rip it open and shut it and then run out there while I'm half naked in a changing room, and run back out. And I was flustered, I was stressed. I'm like, I just wanted to get an outfit I like, right? And so I'm standing there in front of the mirror in this outfit. It was actually, I think, these pants and a different shirt, and I stood there and I had a thought come to me from the adversary. He said, why are you trying to do this anyway, Sarah? You don't deserve these clothes. And I recognized it immediately, and I said, oh yeah? I made all this effort to get here. Look at how happy I still am. Look at how I planned and prepared, and I earned the money to purchase these. I'm going to buy these, and I'm going to feel dang good. And I stepped on that thought's head. So who here has had a time when you clearly have had a thought from the adversary? And you wonder, where did that come from? Why would I intentionally think that? So these are the 4 sources of our thoughts. And how these work together is really interesting. Yourself, this is always a choice, correct? We always choose what to think ourselves. And this is what everyone tells you. This is what we always hear. That, oh, choose to think positively. Choose to say things that are supportive and affirming and constructive. And this is all that they think about. But when it comes to our brain, adversary, inspiration, they all work together. So these 2 are kind of our worst enemy. Because this one wants to always take us down. And this one always wants to keep us alive, but it can't tell the difference between right or wrong. So when we are constantly allowing these negative thoughts to constantly repeat themselves, when we choose to listen to them, our brain hears it and says, oh my gosh, this is important. Sarah's thinking, I'm not enough. Sarah's listening to the thought that she's not enough. This must be important. I'm going to wire it hard and repeat it to her a lot. So this is what we want to break, right? And then everything here is also fed into our brain. Everything that we choose to say, everything that we choose to think or write down or believe is also hardwired into our brain. Yes, let me grab a drink. Any questions about this? Not yet. Okay. So today, how much time do I have left?
You've got about 30 minutes.
30 minutes?
For the whole window.
Exactly. So what do I have left?
You have, I would say, probably 20.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So how do we change this? How do we break this? Who here has done affirmations? Declarations, affirmations, affirmations, they're all the same thing. Who feels like they work? They can. Absolutely they can. But there's more happening under the surface, like we've talked. So the first thing that I want you to go home today to do, I'm going to write declare, but this can mean whatever you want. Your affirmations, your positive statements, anything that lifts you up, anything that is absolute positive truth. What are some of the affirmations that you have in your life? Please share them. Let's make a list. One of mine is I get exactly what I want. That's something I write every day. What's something that you tell yourself positively?
That I am a good mom. Yeah.
I'm a good mom. Awesome. You raised your hand.
I am grateful and appreciative that learning comes easily, freely, and frequently for me.
Fantastic. We'll sum that up with I'm grateful. Because you can apply that to a lot. What else? Yes? I am enough. Wonderful. And saying these things and writing them down every day is fantastic. However, our brain is really, really rigid. We have our conscious brain, let's say it's on the top, and our subconscious brain bound down below. And the barrier in between both of them is like a wall. You can hit it with a sledgehammer all day long with all of these positive statements, but it will not break. So what do we have to do to fix this? When we are awake, our subconscious mind is really on guard. But when we are asleep, our conscious brain is totally turned off, right? And our unconscious state takes over. And that barrier is really flexible. It's really soft. That's why we have funny dreams, because our subconscious is processing things, and when we wake up, our conscious mind has remembered all these funny images because that barrier is really soft when we're asleep. Does this make sense? So, so in order to make these affirmations and positive statements stick, this is what I want you to do. Write this down. I want you to take your phone and you're going to record yourself speaking to yourself all of the positive statements that you want to hear, all of the positive beliefs. And
Hold on just a second.
sure.
My mind was like,
That was pretty loud, yeah.
Going,
No worries.
thank you.
No worries. I'll start over.
Thank you.
No problem.
I'm like a squirrel.
It's okay. So what we want to do is you're going to take your phone, and there's a voice recording app on your phone. If not, you can download a free one. And you're going to speak into it saying all of the positive affirmations you have. Everything you want to believe, everything you want to know about yourself, all of the anything positive, everything. You can go on and on and on for at least 15, 20 minutes, half an hour. And record that in one single audio file, and it'll save it like as an MP3 on your phone. You can even like play music in the background while you're speaking, so it's, nice and pleasant. Okay? And then what you're going to do is when you go to bed, you're going to put headphones in, and while you go to sleep, you're going to listen to this recording and set it up so that it repeats over and over and over again. So for example, my app, I made like a playlist. Mine's an Android, so my Google Play, whatever. I made a playlist of the same recording over and over so that it would play for at least 3 or 4 hours. And what happens is when you go to sleep listening to all of these statements, because that barrier between your conscious mind and your subconscious mind is flexible, your subconscious mind is going to listen. It's going to take in everything that you are telling to yourself much, much easier than being fully awake and saying it to yourself over and over. I still suggest both, but this is going to ingrain it into your brain a lot faster. Yes?
So I've done these before, like just something that's on YouTube. Does it have a greater effect doing it in your own voice?
Yes.
Because it's like I feel like I listen to these guys and I don't know who they are, and I tell myself it works. But even like in the morning, I like to listen to it when I'm getting ready for work, or and I repeat what they're saying, but it's not.
The energy is different because it's not you. Absolutely. Your spirit, your mind, your heart, every part of you is going to believe and listen to you more than anyone else. I too listen to podcasts and YouTube videos of inspirational speakers saying things like this. I do that as well. But this, while you listen to it as you sleep, will help you ingrain that into your brain more positively, much faster. We want to flip that 80% and 20% positive and negative thoughts, correct? So we've got to retrain our brain the fastest way possible to repeat all of these things to you as well. Any questions about that? Okay. The second thing I want you to do, I don't really have a name for this, but I call it Thanks for sharing. So anytime you have a negative thought come up, you recognize that you're in an anxiety whirlwind, or you hear something in your mind that clearly makes you feel bad. When I was in the department store trying on clothes and I had that negative thought, once you recognize it, stop, step back, and say, thanks for sharing. I'm going to choose this positive thought. I'm going to choose this belief. So for example, when I was in the store, I heard, oh, Sarah, who do you think you are to be able to go out and buy these clothes for yourself? You're not enough to do this. I said, oh, thanks for sharing, but I'm choosing what we're doing today. I love this outfit, and I absolutely deserve to enjoy it. And this is what I'm going to do. You can do that out loud. You can do that in your mind. But we don't want to judge it. Don't judge it, and don't push it away. Because sometimes when we recognize, oh, I'm having a negative spell, a negative thought, oh, no, I'm not supposed to think that. I'm supposed to think positively. Don't think negative thoughts. Don't think negative thoughts, right? Does that help? No. When we try to push away the negativity, it actually creates strain. It creates tension so that the goodness can't come in as well. So as soon as you recognize you've had a negative thought from the adversary or from your brain, or even from yourself, stop, step back, and say, thanks for sharing. But that isn't me. This is what I choose right now. And that voice gets quieter and quieter. And this is something that we want to do every single day. And then there are many other wonderful things, like you mentioned, you learned on YouTube that you can do. But start with these two. One is while you sleep, and one is while you consciously choose it while you're awake. And you can hit it from both ends. So we can flip that 80-20 to 80% positive, 20% negative. Because we're never going to be able to get rid of this, ever. It will be with us until the day we die. But that's okay. When we change, we know this is always positive. When we change what we consciously choose through thanks for sharing, and when we change what we unconsciously accept and think through listening to our affirmations while we sleep, we can have 3/4 of our thoughts always be positive. Always be positive. So, as you go home today, who has a little bit of trouble implementing things after they've learned it? Don't we all? No worries. So, right now while I'm writing this, get out your phones for real and open up a web browser. Chrome, Safari, whatever it is. And I want you to type in this address, sarahbethprince.com/essentials. Put in your email. And hit the button.
Is this different than the one that's on the table?
Yes, absolutely. This is going to give you
Essentials goes right on the address line.
yes, right afterward.
And then your email address there too?
So type this in, and then you're going to hit enter
Oh.
in your browser. And then it will bring up a page where you can put in your email. Let me know if you don't see it. This is going to send you a little downloadable PDF where you can track every day the essential things you need to do along with changing your thoughts, along with everything, all the wonderful things you're going to learn today. Yes, it looks just like that. So that you can track, remind yourself, and reflect every single day on how you're doing. I'll take it. Everyone sees it. Okay. Before we wrap up, does anyone have any questions?
So with this essential, like my daily goal, we give an example.
Absolutely. So let's say your daily goal, and you can use this for tracking anything as well, but I encourage you to use it for changing your thoughts. Let's say, okay, I want to use the thanks for sharing today. I want to have a goal to, as soon as I recognize a negative thought, I'm going to step away from it and replace it with something positive. That's my goal for today. Write it down, think about it, be aware. Okay, you're going about your day. Say you're at work and you've got a coworker that you always headbutt with, and you, oh my gosh, wouldn't she just let well enough alone? Oh, Sarah, of course she's gonna act that way around you. You're not a very nice person, whatever it is. Thanks for sharing. I know that individual is a wonderful person. I know I'm a wonderful person, and we're going to get along much better. This is how I'm going to think today. Then at the end of the day, before you go to bed, you can pull out your same sheet, and at the bottom there's a space for reflection. How did I do today? What happened? How did I feel? What can I do a little bit better? Because this is a daily process for the rest of your life. Don't we all wish it was one and done? Like, oh yeah, I implemented that and I'm ready to go. No worries. This is something that is a lifelong process. Our brain is constantly trying to help us best we can, and so we have to constantly support it. But I promise, once we get 3/4 of everything positively supporting us and ignoring the other crap, you are going to feel more satisfied with your life and more fulfilled and happier about what's going on up here, so that you can actually give and serve more with love. Any other questions?